Made on Zencastr.
Because Zencastr is the all-in-one podcasting platform that makes every stage of the podcast production process so easy. Use the link in the description to visit Zencastr.com. It has a built-in discount. Hello and welcome to Fit for My Age, the health and well-being podcast from Abeceda. I'm your host, Michael Millward, the Managing Director of Abeceda. Today, I'm going to be learning about lupus from Angel Altman, who is being diagnosed with that condition, and we'll find out how Angel manages her condition and what she has done in order to help other people as well. Very importantly, on Fit for My Age, we will not be telling you what to think, but we do hope to make you think. Angel is based in Ohio in the United States, one of the states that I haven't visited, but if I ever get the chance to go, I will be sure to make my travel arrangements with the Ultimate Travel Club, because as a member of the Ultimate Travel Club, I have access to trade prices on flights, hotels, trains, all sorts of travel and holiday. You can as well, because I have put a link in the description to the Ultimate Travel Club, which has a built-in discount on membership fees so that you can travel at trade prices as well. Now that I have paid some bills, it is time to make an episode of Fit for My Age that will be well worth listening to, liking, downloading and subscribing to, and so be worth telling your friends, family and work colleagues about as well. Hello, Angel.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
It's a great pleasure, and I really do appreciate you finding the time to have this conversation with me and also to share the story of lupus. Feeling very privileged that you decided to do that with Fit for My Age. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. I'm excited to be here.
Great. Please, could we start by you explaining a little bit about who you are and your story with lupus?
So, as you said, my name is Angel Altman. I own Tea of Life Apothecary. I've been a nurse for almost 30 years, and I've worked in various aspects of nursing. I've done med surg, I've done OB-GYN, orthopedics, family medicine. The last 10 to 12 years, I have spent more in a holistic alternative functional medicine world. And that's where I've really picked up a lot of insight and knowledge and things that I've found very useful on my own journey. In 2015, I was diagnosed with lupus. It came basically from being a nurse and knowing that, if you typically have one sided joint pain, maybe your right ankle, your right knee, that tends to be more osteoarthritis. But when you have bilateral joint pain, both ankles, both knees, both hips, both elbows, that usually is a good indicator that it's autoimmune. And I had struggled with that for several months. And so, knowing what I knew, I finally decided to go talk to my doctor about it. And over the course of several weeks, they did a lot of blood work, a lot of different testing, and at the end of that, what they determined was I did in fact have an autoimmune illness, and that I was diagnosed with lupus, and that it had taken a pretty good hold. At that time, I was pretty much told I was around 40, and I was told that probably by the time I was 50, I may be in a wheelchair, maybe needing to use oxygen, and that just didn't seem like the right way I wanted to spend my 50s. That was not the middle age that I had envisioned. So, working in the holistic practice that I was in at the time, I went in, I made sure that I spoke with the doctor, I got a plan started. I became very serious about my health. I became very serious about my health journey and advocating for myself. And I have spent the last 10 years working to restore my health and avoid that wheelchair. And I've also been working to help other people along their path and their journey to restore their health as well.
That sounds great. And I'm assuming that you have avoided the wheelchair.
I have.
Brilliant.
I turned 50 last year, and I have not got the wheelchair or the oxygen tank yet.
Congratulations. That's brilliant to hear. But lupus, what is it? You say it's an autoimmune disease. What does it actually mean?
So, your immune system is designed to protect you. If you come in contact with a pathogen, a cold, a virus, a flu, your immune system is called into action, and it isolates that particular invader overcomes it and gets rid of it.
Hmm.
That's how our immune system is designed. That's what it does. When you have any type of autoimmune, it loses the ability over time to differentiate between friend and foe, meaning it begins to treat your natural cells as if they were a invading pathogen, and it begins to attack your own organs. So for me, lupus was beginning to attack my lungs, it was beginning to attack my joints and things like that. For other people, it may attack their gastrointestinal tract. It might be more of a heart thing that they deal with, more cardiovascular. Everybody experiences it in a different way. And so autoimmune basically begins to attack your body. And if you don't address that and help to slow that process and to reverse it in some ways, it will continue to destroy organs, and it's basically your own immune system that's doing that.
So it's almost a case of like, yes, you can be told that you've got lupus, but by following the sorts of things that you've embarked on, that sort of journey that you've embarked on, lupus doesn't have you.
Correct.
Brilliant. Okay. I've done quite a few episodes of Fit for My Age where I've been talking to people who've been describing holistic medical solutions to various different issues. And one of the things that has come to be a realization, a big learning for me, is that what we consider to be medicine, which is basically drug-based medicine, is really around about 100 years old. The sort of medicine that you're talking about as holistic is thousands of years old.
Correct. Yes. This is something that has been around, yes, for centuries.
So, how did the holistic journey start that would help you deal with the lupus?
So every chronic illness is different. When you're dealing with autoimmune, from what I have experienced and what I have learned, you really have to start with yourself. Autoimmune is often a self neglect disorder disease. And that's a lot of times that's hard for people to hear.
I'm just going to say that is, it must be something, a very tough thing to have to say to yourself.
It
And as
is.
a practitioner, something difficult to say to other people as well.
It
But
is.
certainly,
And it's very hard to hear as well.
yeah. So is it a case of like, yes, this is it. I've done something in the past which has potentially contributed to the situation that I'm in now. That is you're a medical person, so I suppose you have a. Is it easier being medical, being a nurse, to accept that?
No, I don't think it's easy for anyone to hear that and accept that. And whenever I first started my journey, when that information came to me, I kind of laughed and said, "No, that's not true. I take care of myself." By self-neglect, what I mean is, I want you to think of all the people that you love in your life, and the people that we worry the most about and the people we take care of the most. And that's usually our spouse, our children, our parents, our siblings, our best friends, sometimes our coworkers. These are the people that we love the most. And if one of them was ill, we would go out of our way to take care of them, help them, do whatever they needed, a lot of times to our own detriment, meaning if I don't feel really well, but my spouse or my child needs me to do something, I'm going to push myself to go take care of them because they need me. I want to be there and take care of them. I don't care in the moment. I will say that, oh, don't worry about me. I'll figure it out later. I'll take care of myself later. But later never comes for us because there's always someone else that we have to take care of, that we want to be there for. And a lot of times, what we do is we continually push ourselves to the back. And over time, that takes its toll. It truly, it also impacts how we care about ourselves, our level of self love. One of the biggest, there's several studies, but one of the biggest contributing factor to how well you're going to do with any kind of treatment is how much you love yourself. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best, how much do you truly love yourself? And what I found when I started my journey, I loved other people. I What I felt like I loved other people at a 9 or 10 level. I gave everything to my relationships, to taking care of people, to being there for others. But when I really broke it down, I would have said, oh, I love myself at about a level 4 or 5, average. But do you go when you don't have energy in your tank? You lose a point. Do you do things out of expectation or obligation? You lose a point. Do you go for others when you really shouldn't, when you should rest? For all of these things, you lose a point. And what I found was my self love was probably around a 1 or a 2. I always put myself last. I always took care of others first. So autoimmune becomes, for many people, they have that same drive. I want to take care of others. I want to be there. I want to be the best daughter, the best wife, the best mother, the best sister. I want to be that person that takes care of everyone. But in doing so, they fail to take care of themselves equally. And that's a lot of times where the problem starts.
It's a very interesting. Yeah, that certainly makes me think. Because yeah, certainly makes me think. Reminds me as well of that safety talk that they put on the airplanes, where if you're traveling with an infant, put your own oxygen mask on first,
Hmm.
because until you do that, you can't really properly help the infant, the person who needs your help. You've got to look after yourself
Correct.
before you can then look after someone else, and you can't do the looking after as well as you would like to. But it's also interesting that you can identify or attribute your own illness very clearly to the fact that, when you say, oh, well, this type of illness, the condition is sometimes related to things that we have done in the past. And the first thought is, oh, okay, well, were you a party animal, drinking, etc., etc., etc. But what you're actually saying is that it's not necessarily that type of activity that is the cause. It can be something that is quite philanthropic. You're putting other people before you, and that means that slowly, silently, you are putting yourself at risk of these types of illnesses.
Yes. Yes, as well as many others. Autoimmune is not always, many people have chronic health issues, and it does come from a form of self neglect, and that's a harsh word for so many, but it is what it truly is in its essence.
Yes, yeah, and we have to essentially be honest with ourselves and with other people about the, the risks that we are taking in not looking after ourselves. So you embark on this holistic medical journey. What sort of things were you doing as part of that?
Well, the first thing that I found that I had to address was, my self love, and I had to work on that. By working on self love, that doesn't mean become self focused, self absorbed, self centered. It just simply means advocating and taking care of yourself equally to those that you love. So if you're going to work as hard for your spouse if they're sick, or your child, you want to work equally as hard for yourself. And for many people, that makes them feel like they're doing something wrong, or they're not giving others their fair attention, but we do have to take care of ourselves equally. So that was one of
Hmm.
the first things I had to do. The second thing was to change my diet completely. Sugar, processed sugar, and artificial sweeteners are one of the biggest contributors to joint pain, any kind of inflammation in the body, and of course, autoimmune illnesses are by all means very inflammatory. So you want to make sure that you change your food, your diet. Every meal should be trying to eat a multivitamin. You want an array of vegetables, an array of proteins, and very little starches and complex or simple sugars. You want to eliminate those as much as possible and lean more into the healing, detoxifying, restoration type foods. And then the next step is to monitor stress. And we hear that all the time. And, you know, it's so easy to say, well, you got to monitor stress, but people don't really tell you what stress is doing to your body. And stress comes in the form of simply carrying your cell phone, being in a department store or in a grocery store with other people's phones going off and lights and sounds and people talking. Your attention is being grabbed by all these things, and it causes your body to go into a state of fight or flight. Even though there's no danger, you become hyper aware, hypersensitive. And what that does is it diminishes and shuts down our immune system when we stay in a consistent state of heightened awareness. So, learning to take a few moments to breathe, meditation, earthing, grounding, Epsom salt baths, getting into a sauna, just taking moments for yourself so that your body can return to a state of calm is paramount to the healing process.
Connecting with nature, really, isn't it?
Hmm.
Abandoning the modern world and all of its distractions and technology, and making some sort of connection with nature so that we can become more in tune with, aligned with natural rhythms in the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a fan, I have to say, of that, because one of the things that you haven't mentioned is you're not taking any drugs. This is
No.
totally sort of like recreating or creating a lifestyle that is based around balancing the inputs into your body, both diet wise and stimulation, what you see, what you hear type of situation as well.
Yes.
Right. What sort of impact did it have on your condition, the lupus?
Well, when I was initially diagnosed, I was told that things were progressing pretty quickly. I was told I would need to see a specialist to kind of manage things and that I would require, some pretty serious medications to keep things at bay. And I asked the doctor if he would just give me 3 months to do things my way and see how I fared. And so that's when I went all in. I changed everything that I ate. I literally changed what I watch on TV, what I listen to on the radio. I started working on resetting the algorithms on my Facebook and my Instagram. The other component is whatever mindset you're in. So if you are a negative person or if you're someone who tends to be frustrated easily and you get a lot of times I would become upset over social injustices in the world. And so I would watch that on my social media. Well, that algorithm sees that I've watched it and now it thinks, oh, she wants more. So it would send me more. And then I would end up at the end of the day being very overwhelmed, overstimulated, frustrated, upset. And these are not healing emotions. So what I did was I started working to reset the algorithm. I watched funny, uplifting, loving, kind, things that made me feel happy, things that made me feel safe, that made me feel loving. All of these are healing emotions. And over time, that shifted my algorithms. I also worked very hard on making sure that, along with my diet and what I ate, as far as trying to make sure that I ate a multivitamin every meal, I also implemented herbal teas, tinctures, a lot of different herbs that help support the body, help support the immune system, bring back about a state of balance.
Out of all of the herbs that you've been using, which one would be the most important one to use?
For me specifically, in the beginning, I used a lot of ashwagandha. I found that to be one that had a huge impact on calming my brain and bringing me out of that fight or flight. As I have progressed through things, I find that just a combination of a lot of adaptogenic herbs. I like ashwagandha. I love lavender. I like tulsi. I use a lot of mushrooms as far as medicinal mushrooms, cordyceps, reishi. I like to lean into more of a combination for the synergistic effect versus just one
Yeah,
herb.
I get that. Has your diet become more vegetarian?
No, I tend to do mainly vegetables, meats, and fruits. I try to stay away from pasta. I try to stay away from any kind of carb. I mean, I have them occasionally, but not with every meal. So I tend to just be more vegetable and protein, and I eat a lot of chicken and red meat. I do eat a lot of red meat.
Right. So it's a diet that is free from processed foods
Correct.
and complex carbohydrates. So,
Yes.
right. Okay. So you must have done an awful lot of learning, an awful lot of research to get to this point.
I have done my fair share. I have I've worked with a dietitian one on one. I've also worked with I've traveled all over the United States and worked with various specialists in different fields of holistic and alternative medicine. My goal with each experience is to learn as much as I possibly can, because you never know what I might be learning today, 6 months from now, the person who needs to hear that may cross my path.
Yes. And one of the things that is very impressive about your story is the people crossing your path and the people that you have provided a path for, because you've taken what was a problem which became your passion, and now you are creating the solutions for other people as well. And you've launched the Tea of Life Apothecary. See, I have a difficulty saying it, but I know what it means.
Apothecary.
Thank you. The Tea of Life Apothecary. Right. But how did that come about? What was the idea behind it?
Well, to be honest, uh, I have a lot of family members with chronic health issues. In the United States, alternative and holistic medication is usually not covered by insurance. So, if you want to go that route, you typically have to pay out of pocket. And that can be very costly if somebody has chronic health issues. And a lot of times, those people have already depleted savings or depleted their benefits simply because they've been dealing with a chronic health issue. So, the first goal was to make it affordable for people who just are living day to day.
Hmm.
And the second step was to make it available to anybody. You know, there's so many people that are looking for answers. And again, they're used to that. Go to the doctor, do what the doctor says. And many of them are on medications, and they have been for years, and they're not getting any better. And most of them begin to feel hopeless. I know for me myself, when I was diagnosed, I felt hopeless. I felt overwhelmed. I felt angry. There was an element of grief. There was so many things, and it's hard to explain that to someone when you have an autoimmune issue you're dealing with. You don't, it's not like a broken bone where you have a cast or a crutch and people can look at you and say, "Oh, you have a problem. Here, let me help you, or let me hold the door for you, or let me not ask so much of you." When you have autoimmune illness that you're dealing with or chronic health issues, those don't come with a crutch or a cast. And a lot of times people tend to forget that. And so people dealing with that feel very invisible, and they feel very overwhelmed. And I wanted to give them a place where they could come, they could be heard, they could be seen, and there were answers somewhere. And if I don't have them today, my goal is always to research and find them for you.
Sounds great. When you say a place to go, do you mean a physical place or is this an online place?
So I do have a physical store in Chillicothe, Ohio. I also do work through virtual. I work with a physician. We have a holistic health practice. I also do virtual 10 or 15-minute virtual meetings sometimes with customers to help them determine the best herbs for them. But yes, it's both physical and virtual.
Which is great. So anyone, anywhere in the world can take advantage of this.
Yes,
Great. Although there's tea in the title, it's not just tea that you sell, is it?
it's not.
What sort of things would people find on the website?
So we offer here at the shop, we do offer some holistic approaches. We do have PEMF, which is pulsed electromagnetic field, which helps to work on the immune system as well as stress, circulation, lymphatic flow in the body. We have red light therapy. We do, like I said, I also work with a physician. We do one on one appointments for people who are looking to start their own health journey in a more alternative, holistic way. I work with patients one-on-one to determine the best herbs for them. We have tinctures, we have topical applications. We're always bringing in new modalities. We do neural therapy here, which is small injections to reset the nervous system. We will be offering ozone treatments in the near future. There's just so many things that people can utilize that help with the healing process, and we do offer a lot of that here. There are options that people can do some of these things at home, so we can connect you with ways to do those treatments at home as well.
Sounds great. Sounds great. And what is the website that people need to visit?
It is www.teaoflifeapothecary.com.
Great. I will practice saying that. I will. It's one of those words I have a sort of block on. But, it has been really interesting. I hope that your health journey continues to be successful. And I really am very grateful for the time that you've spent with me today. Thank you very much.
Well, I appreciate you having me. Thank you for speaking with me.
It's been great. Thank you. I am Michael Millward, Managing Director of Abacida, and I have been having a conversation with Angel Altman, an alternative health specialist. You can find out more information about both of us by using the links in the description. At Fit for My Age, our aim is a proactive, positive aging. Knowing the risks early is an important part of maintaining good health. That is why we recommend the annual health test from York Test. York Test provides an assessment of 39 different health markers, including risks of cholesterol and diabetes risks, vitamin levels, organ functions, and a full blood count. The annual health test is conducted by an experienced phlebotomist who will complete a full blood draw at your home or workplace. Hospital standard tests are carried out in UKAS accredited and CQC compliant laboratories. You can access your easy to understand results and guidance to help you make effective lifestyle changes anytime by your secure personal wellness hub account. There is a link and, as you would expect, a discount code in the description. I'm sure that you will have enjoyed listening to this episode of Fit for My Age as much as Angel and I have enjoyed making it. So please give it a like and download it so you can listen anytime, anywhere. To make sure you don't miss out on future episodes, please subscribe. And don't forget to share the link with your friends, your family, and your work colleagues as well. Remember, the aim of all the podcasts produced by Abacida is not to tell you what to think, but we do hope to have made you think. Until the next episode of Fit for My Age, thank you for listening, and goodbye.